How's it going, nerders? Scott the Mass Nerder here. And Project PTFO is really winding down now. The Xbox bracket has finished, and the Sons of Anarchy had two teams in the bracket. Both of these teams actually did make it to the finals, and with us now is AnarchYNeuro from actually the runner-up team. And in this commentary, we'll do a little bit of discussion about Sons of Anarchy, their future, and the match, so hopefully you enjoy. So to start this conversation off, I thought we could first discuss the team, or clan, I don't really know what you guys call yourself, but Sons of Anarchy. And you could tell us a little bit about that. Maybe like, when did it start? What games you guys play and some things like that?
Yeah, I mean, we started back in Bad Company 1. Well, we, not me, but the original Anarchy guys started back in Bad Company 1 playing on game battles. Moved to BC2, won every single season for Conquest for Bad Company 2, and then moved to Battlefield 3, and that's where we are today.
And so you guys have pretty much only been with Battlefield so far, correct? Bad Company, then Battlefield 3?
Yep, basically just Battlefield.
And is that planned to continue into Bad Company 3, or are you guys thinking about branching out?
Right now, it looks like we would be branching out with games like Medal of Honor and Counter-Strike, Global Offensive coming out. Those games, show really good opportunities there, and we have had people who play those games in the past, like Anarchy Devour, who is on my PTFO team. He played Counter-Strike Source competitively, so we want to branch out, but we also want to stick to Battlefield at the same time. So It'll be interesting seeing how that plays out.
No, I didn't actually plan on going into this, but just a quick, because now I'm interested now that we're talking. How do you guys respond to the whole PC versus console debate? Since you guys are a competitive team on consoles, and obviously there's plenty more matches on the PC. Why are you guys on console?
I mean, just console is, I don't want to say necessarily cheaper. I mean, if it is for me, because I do my Xbox and I play on a small monitor, but it's just, that's where we played. That's where we started out, is console. I've been playing console for since Xbox One. I mean, even before that, before multiplayer on consoles happened. But it's more of a familiarity to us. We're used to it, and we've been doing it. So that's just why we do it. There's no real PC sucks or stuff like that. But,
yeah, I mean, that's exactly where I am. I've told people I have it on both. I have it on PC. I have to admit that the PC version of the game is better. You get more players, you get more movement speed, there's more action. It's better. But I play on console, just that's what I like playing on. So it's like when all your friends are on console, you stay on console,
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so let's move in a little bit more to the tournament side of things. And we'll just start with, Sons of Anarchy had two teams in the matches. So you had your squad rush team, for game battles, for your tournaments, whatever, split in two. How'd you guys decide who's on what team? Who partners with whom?
Basically, it was a coin flip. I don't know, it was just...
Yeah, just randomly split?
Yeah, kinda.
Was there any trash talking, or, did you guys ever really talk about the tournament, or who's gonna win, or if you guys play each other, or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, we went into it as, we're still a team, even if you're on the other side or stuff like that. We knew, and we've been playing with each other for, I don't know, I joined the team back in December. We've been playing with each other for, a rather short period of time, but we've gotten to be really good friends with each other. So we would jokingly trash talk and stuff like that. Yeah. But nothing serious, and we just had a lot of fun with the event.
Have you guys ever played each other, in a serious nature like this? Do you guys scrim against each other or do anything like that? Not
in Battlefield 3, no. We just, most competition we'd have against each other would just be in, public matches. We'd go to the other team and play against each other to make things more interesting. But nothing like where there's stuff on the line.
Okay. Alright, so let's move into that finals match, because both your teams did make it into the finals and played against each other. So we'll start talking a little bit of that match and sort of, hear your opinions on it. So for the finals, you actually get to pick two past participants that you randomly were selected to play with you, and you got to handpick which two you brought into the finals with you. So when you picked these new people, did you have new practices with them to reconfigure the team, or did you, what was your plan leading up to that match, or was there any?
Basically, when we practiced with all of our teams, it's kind of like the same thing. We just taught that you can come up with all these strategy videos and stuff like that. But what worked for us was just playing the game type, getting used to the game type, because that was the one thing majority of players who we got didn't they didn't play Squad Rush. They played, Conquest or Rush.
Yep.
So going from a 24-player match to a 8-player match, that was a really big transition for a lot of them. So just getting them familiarized with the game type itself, and learning where good spots are to watch the objective, and kind of how you want to play the game type in general. That was pretty much the key thing we wanted to do.
So there were no real, go in a private match, practice type of thing. It was pretty much get in the game, play, and while you're playing, you'll sort of, you should check this spot out, you should try doing this type of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we did go over strategies a bit, like, what our general offensive for this map would be, or our defense, just so there's more structure to it.
Yeah.
Because that helps out a lot when you're playing in a more serious match. But yeah, generally it was just, going into matches and playing against other people just to practice.
And, we played each other in the semifinals, our two team. And that's sort of, I think, where we went wrong. We the first time we played our first match, we had a lot of practices playing actually in the game. We did scrims, we played against organized teams. The
Yep.
second time, we got a little sidetracked and we started late. We didn't pick up our randoms until later on. And then we started in private matches. So we discussed, okay, what are possible routes? What are all this? But we ran out of time, and we didn't really ever play together as a team in Squad Rush against another team ever. And I felt like we knew all these routes, we knew all these spots, and you can know all that, but if you're not in sync and you're not used to, okay, I understand this guy's going to move here, understand their game pattern, it all falls apart. And I think that's what, I'm not saying we would have beat you, but I think that's where we fell apart. We just did not have that game time experience.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, that's one thing that we have to really stress when you're on a competitive team, is just building up team chemistry. I mean, you can come with these call outs, come with these strategies, and you can start doing them, but being able to just have that unspoken chemistry with the people you play with, it just pretty much exponentially increases your odds of playing well.
Totally. Okay, so specifically talking about these matches now. The first match was on Operation Metro. You guys were defending first, and there was sort of a bumpy start. Can you explain what happened, or do you know?
Basically what happened is usually we had it set up so that you have 7 people in the server, and then when the 8th person joins, it would restart.
Yep.
And for some reason, as soon as the 8th person joined, it restarted without doing the normal countdown from 30 seconds. So I guess everyone except me was caught unawares by that, even though I said, "Hey guys, this is live." No one really realized that it was live, but it happens. And in all reality, they should have realized that, because we've done it multiple times before. But it's not that big a deal.
Definitely sucks. If they all got in on time, what is your opinion? Do you think you would have stopped them on that match?
I wouldn't necessarily say stomped. I mean, that map is very difficult to attack after you take out the first offensive push by the offense. So it could have played out very differently if we had all 4 people set up in their spots. But I think in the competitive nature of the match, I think it made it a lot more interesting going into it with just 2 people. And since it is just a fun event, I think it made it really interesting going into it, having us at that huge disadvantage at the start, and then having to try to pull it back together.
Which, I mean, as far as Operation Metro, you both got both MCOM, so it was a dead tie right after that match. So then we moved into Caspian Border, where things were, I think everyone watching the game live, which for anyone watching now, I'll link that video in the description so you can go watch it on his Twitch as well. But we were all pretty anxious. We're like, oh my god, it's a tie now. They had a mistake in the beginning. If you guys came in fresh without a mistake, would you take Border? So what happened on Caspian Border? I mean,
kind of no one. Again, I was the only one that knew it was going to be Caspian Border for some reason, even though it was predetermined that it would be Caspian Border. I don't know. So we went into that, and Caspian Border is probably one of the worst squad rush maps ever made.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard map to get set up on, and if you make a mistake at the start, you're pretty much screwed, because you have on that map is probably the only Battlefield 3 map where you can actually go into the other team's spawn and spawn trap. So that's one thing you have looming over your head, that if you make a mistake, that can happen.
Yeah.
And you also have all the rocks and stuff like that and the trees you have to work around. So it's just a very hard map for both offense and defense.
Yeah. So you feel like there, probably the biggest thing hurting you guys was just another sort of false start to say that you guys didn't come in real ready, and then after you had one blunder on the attack, you guys were sort of stuck back in deployment?
Kinda, and it's just also, Ivan and J-Rob and their team had just pretty much were set up for that map. Like they knew exactly what to do, and Ivan and J-Rob, giving the credit to them, they're probably a bit better on that map than I am.
Yeah.
So, they knew how to work that map, and they did really well.
And what about when you guys switched to defense? I mean, they came through. I mean, you guys did not get any MCOM on that one. And it's like you said, once you get dropped back to deployment on the first base, I mean, you're sort of spawn in the open, and you have to move through open field when the enemies have plenty of cover. So it's pretty difficult to push. But when you guys were on defense, they came through and got both MCOMs. Can you sort of describe, what do you think happened there? Was it again just you weren't ready? You guys weren't prepared for that map? No one was ready for it? Or did something else happen?
Basically, I mean, people didn't really know where to go for their spots. But I mean, the other team got a very crucial wipe at the beginning. Like, as soon as they pushed up to the base, they got 4-man down, and they were able to arm the crate. And then that first set for the defenders, if you get wiped, you spawn across the river, and the enemy team can just set up on the rocks and pick you off as you spawn. So,
same thing as defense and deployment. You get the rock cover, and the other team's running in the open.
Yep. So that's a very hard map to rebound from anything.
Yeah. That's sort of, I think, the nature of Squad Rush. It's like one of the most important things above all else is just never get squad wiped. If you have 3 men down, your 4th person can do all he can to hide, stay alive, because it is hard to come back from squad wipes on most of the maps, I think.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, that was one of the things I stressed to all the players we got and we were playing with for the PTFO event was, guys, call them out where they're at and call out every squad wipe. It's like, that changes the game right then and there.
Yeah. So what was the attitudes on your team between you and Devour, between your randoms, or even between the SoA guys, the whole group, Ivan and J-Rob, at the end?
At the end?
Right after the match, was there any kind of maybe a little bit anger, or was it all like, whatever,
I mean, there's always a bit of frustration when you lose. So, I mean, we were a bit frustrated because we felt like we shouldn't have lost. But we came into the event looking at it like, we gotta have fun. This is, a YouTube tournament pretty much. And, we couldn't get mad at each other because, we've known each other for albeit a short time, but we got to know each other. We're really good friends with each other. So, we couldn't really be mad at each other. But yeah, we were a bit frustrated.
Losing's never fun. I mean, we're playing against you guys. None of us expected to win, but we were still upset when we lost. It's just you want to. I think there's always mistakes. Even when you dominate a match, your team made a mistake, and it's always hard to be like, man, if that mistake didn't happen, what could have become? I think it's always like a what if game.
Yeah, I mean, you always look at a match and there's always something you did wrong. I mean, it's really hard to get it perfect every single time, but that's the thing is you do that match, you see what you did wrong, and just try to get it better the next time through.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, talking with us about the match. I hope to see more of your stuff, and to carry on, we'll talk a little bit more about your guys' channel, which is SoA Media Group. And again, that's linked on the screen, in the description, everywhere, as well as the matches from your live stream, which we're all live streaming. You can find that link in the description. But just to let everyone know, what can we expect to find on your guys' channel?
Well, we're trying to, we just do, right now we're doing like gameplay videos and the occasional montage. We're trying to ramp that up. We have, we started off with very few people with the capability to record, but now we have, a bunch of members from SoA able to record, so we're going to try to be putting out more montages, more commentaries, more, interview style things.
Yeah.
just put out as much as we can so you guys can enjoy and kind of understand what it's like to play on a competitive team. Because that's one thing I think everyone's missing on YouTube is there's no real competitive console Battlefield teams that are
There's
getting
definitely
shown.
not. I mean, just watching you guys, I'm on the competitive matches, watching your scrims, which you've streamed those before. You know, it's awesome to see that it's a whole different level. You know, it changes everything. So I think, yeah, I think we're all. I personally love watching you guys. I mean, I think you guys are the best on console. I think your tournaments and your records from SOA and Game Battle and stuff backs that up. And I think, you know, there's definitely a lot to learn from you, and I'm looking forward to seeing more commentaries and hopefully get some of your tips and tricks and be able to imply it myself. All right, well, we'll catch you on your channel. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you.